Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're gonna take a look at one of my favorite teams so far for the Open Great League. I stole this team from a Mind Joke, one of the best Italian players, and also we're going to have here again today a more deep dive video. We're going to have an ABB stay line, and we're going to have the Alolan Sandslash with Shadow Claw in the Shadow variant. In the lead, we're going to have the Saysop of the Feraligatr, and we're going to have the Azumarill in the back. And here we see already that we have the normal Feraligatr over the Shadow variant. I'm not actually too sure if they are also running it like this, but I like it definitely a lot. Because as you're going to see here, for example, in this scenario, maybe would have been able to knock them out with the Shadow variant here already, so maybe it's actually not as ideal either. But we can easily take another charge move here, can align ourselves, we can get some extra energy. And we're also going to have here coverage with Ice Beam, which is going to be quite nice. And that's kind of the thing that I always love on my teams as well, where you have a lead that's a certain type here, Ice type of course, with our Sandslash, and you're going to have in the back a Pokemon as a Saysop, but it's going to have coverage in the same typing, which you're going to have here with Ice Beam. We actually have 2 times Ice Beam, as you're going to have the Azumarill in the back, and I have to say, Azumarill was for sure my MVP for this team. Like, Azumarill was so good, like literally one of the best Pokemon that I could imagine for the current meta. Like, really, if you have one still floating around, I know a lot of people don't really play it too much nowadays, it is still so insanely good. For sure, try out Azumarill, like really good Pokemon. Total, I went, I think 10-3 with this team, which is insanely good. I'm now up, I think, to like 2,680 points, which is also like leaderboards, I think, at this point. So this team is insanely strong. I would really recommend you to try it out. Again, we have it split up here today in leads that are 1, leads that are neutral. We only had actually 2 wins for leads, which we see here already the first one. And we have like the battles where I lost the lead. Fun fact about this team. All of my losses actually kinda came from neutral leads, which is kinda hilarious. Anyway, we're going to start off here in the second battle. We're going to have a very good lead of Gligar. And Gligar is literally an instant win for this team, basically, because if you take a look at this team, we have 3 Pokemon with Ice-type coverage, which is going to be all double super effective on one-shotting a Gligar. And we have even, some fast move pressure with a Azumarill, and the Ice Punch we're going to get very fast to as well, which is kind of cool. So, like, there's nothing that Gligar can really do against this team, which is really, really good as well. A little bit of a trickier one, though, for this team might be Electric-type Pokemon, which I have to say as well. All the electric type Pokemon, like most of the electric type Pokemon that I was encountering were in the lead though today. I think actually every electric type Pokemon was in the lead for it. So this kind of helps out the team for sure as well. Oh, look at this, a Gligar comes back in, and we can say goodbye to that Gligar. Bye bye. As you're gonna see the final Pokemon most likely coming in here against us. So let's see what it's going to be. Azumarill is going to definitely give a very decent matchup against Feraligatr as well. Every move from Feraligatr is going to be resisted on us, but of course we're already kind of low. They're the Shadow variant and they have Shadow Claw, which is doing quite some decent damage against us. So we stay in here, we let the move go through, we keep our shield for our Sandslash, and honestly I feel like there's no way of them winning the battle anymore as well here. As we can use a shield, we should be able to survive another Hydro Cannon. The opponent's Charizard is basically dead already anyway. They try to catch a move, which doesn't matter either. I decided to go for my own charge move, of course. As you can see, I can easily take this Hydro Cannon, and so we can go for the Drill Run, win the battle, and we can move on to the next opponent. Moving on to the next battle, we're going to see here Charjabug in the lead. This is going to be something that I encounter actually quite often. I think like 3 or 4 times, which is kind of cool. So yeah, Charjabug in the lead is kind of fine. What you want to do, in my opinion, is just go for Ice Punch. Like, yes, Drill Run is going to do more damage in total, but Ice Punch is going to be a little bit more consistent. Why? Because it's just going to outspeed the opponent, which is quite important. And so Ice Punch definitely a better way to go for it here. Like, again, like you could also decide to go for Drill Run, then you might be able to farm down a little bit easier now on the 2-shield scenario. But they swap out anyway into their Feraligatr, allowing us to go for a Drill Run. I'm just going to allow them to get some energy, because the energy doesn't matter if we go into the Azumarill. And we decide to go, of course, into the Azumarill, and so Crunch resisted, Hydro Cannon resisted, Ice Beam resisted. What do you want to do? I don't know, it's not this, because as you can see, we can kind of easily take this one. They go for one fast move, go for another charge move, very smart in terms of fast move timing, but we can here just go for the play rough, and this is why Azumarill is so good as well in the current meta. So many Feraligatr, so many Feraligatr, and this Pokemon just completely locks them down, which is just a lot of fun. The Hydro Cannon comes through, they might be able to win this matchup here in general. Okay, they don't even, we can go for an Ice Beam and that's going to be it for them. So yeah, like this is just such a good matchup for us. We still have alignment. We can swap out here, which kind of kills the alignment, but it's going to be the Azumarill anyway. And as you can overfarm by quite a bit, even if they go back into that Charjabug, we're going to have quite a lot of energy for that, or we can even go for the full farm now, depends on what the opponent is going to do here anyway. We can go for another charge move. This is going to do some nice damage against them, and we can get a free fast move in as they go straight for the play rough. This is going to do quite some decent damage as we saw before as well, but we can even overfarm. They try to swap out into the Charjabug, it did not work out for them. While I can go for the full farm now, I can only reach one Hydro Cannon here, as the opponent will knock me out with that incoming bubble, as this is still going to get them quite low. Here I make a little bit of a mistake, I should have not done this, because if they go for a play rough, the game is over. It's an Ice Beam, and so the game is over for them, because now the opponent decides to forfeit anyway. Speaking of electric type Pokemon here, this is going to be also one, and this is kind of an awkward one, because you win this matchup here in general in the 2-shit scenario against us, like also with Water Gun. Spark would have been better for your lead, Water Gun is better for your backline. So it is always an awkward one. Like definitely Lantern is a tricky one, Lantern is still kind of around as well. So here we can go for a Drill Run. The thing is, we are not going to outspeed them to the next one, like the opponent can still go for a charge move here. But also if they catch this move, this might be a little bit of a tough one. And you know what's also a little bit of a tough one? The Pokemon that they caught the move on, which is the Lickitung. Lickitung is most likely the worst possible Pokemon to encounter for this team, just mainly because Lick damage is neutral against everything. Body Slam and the Power Whip is going to be resistant on our lead, but our lead also has Shadow Claw as a fast move, which is double resisted against the opponent, so it doesn't have any fast move pressure at all. So yes, you're going to have like a still kind of neutral scenario with this Pokemon, but it's not really ideal. And then you're going to have our Say Swap, which is going to be weak to Power Whip and also has Shadow Claw. And so it is a tricky matchup. Here in comes again the Lantern. Our only hope is that I'm somehow going to be able to catch a move from the opponent on my own Sandslash. We're going to overfarm by quite a bit, and we can catch that move. It's very likely going to be that Thunderbolt from the opponent, which is kind of nice. And so we have still some chances here for sure of winning this battle. We have to see what they're going to have in the back, though. It is going to be, well, let's find out. It is going to be that Mandibuzz. And I make a mistake here. I make a mistake, and this is going for the Ice Beam here. Why? Because I did not know that it doesn't two-shot them. I was really expecting that it would two-shot the opponent. And the awkward thing now is, if I went for Hydro Cannon, I could have just went for 3 Hydro Cannon, guarantee a knockout. And so I just wasted a lot of energy. And this energy that I just wasted is going to definitely matter quite a bit. And so if I knew that I need 3 Hydro Cannons anyway, and I just go for the Hydro Cannon, I would have been in such a better spot. But as you guys see as well, they can go for the double Aerial Ace, and I would have been able to reach that Hydro Cannon if I just went for Hydro Cannon over the Ice Beam. So for the next matchup, something to know. Next opponent, this is also more of a neutral lead, of course, still here against the Magnezone. It is not as ideal, but it's also not as bad. The thing is, of course, our backline really struggles against this Pokemon. We still at least do fast move damage with everything here, because Shadow Claw is neutral and Bubble is neutral, so like it's not going to be the worst matchup either. But the opponent is kind of in a free spot where they can just go for Mirror Shot and win the lead matchup if they want to. And they decided to do exactly this. I can go for another Ice Punch here to try to knock them out or get the final shield. There is going to be the final shield from the opponent, which is totally fine. They are going to be able to go for their next charge move here as well, which is going to be the Mirror Shot. I could have tried to catch this move, but at the end of the day, it's kind of risky, and I'd rather get the energy on my Feraligatr. In comes Cresselia. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to save my Feraligatr. Why? Because Feraligatr is a little bit more useful, especially with the energy, as Hydro Cannon does more damage than anything that the Azumarill can do. Our fast move pressure is a little bit higher. Azumarill can take 2 Grass Knots from the opponent's Cresselia, which is kind of important. And so the opponent reveals their final Pokemon, being a Gligar, being double weak to Ice. We're gonna see here another one-shot against them. So again, like Gligar is such a free Pokemon to deal with for this team. But also, what we're gonna see here, of course, is that they can go for the Grass Knot, knock me out, but we can also go for the back-to-back Hydro Cannon. With the bubble damage that was coming in from the Azumarill, we perfectly put them into range where double Hydro Cannon is enough to knock them out, and we can say goodbye to that Cresselia here. Moving on to the next opponent, it's going to be like in the neutral section again. You might think this is such a positive lead for you and the Mandibuzz lead is so good for you. No, it's not. Like, it is not. It is a very, very neutral lead. It is very likely that they even would be able to win this lead matchup. Why is it the case? Because we are running not Powder Snow but Shadow Claw. And this is like a huge difference for this matchup, because if you're on Powder Snow, you can 2-shot them. If you run Shadow Claw, you have to 3-shot them. And you have no fast move really potential to farm them down. And that's kind of awkward. You know what's also kind of awkward? That I didn't go for the the charge move here, and this is going to be quite impactful, because if I had the shield advantage now, I would have been in such a good spot, but I don't. And so we're gonna see here as well throughout the game that me not going for the charge move, expecting the opponent not to go for a charge move themselves either, I was expecting them to just farm me down, is going to be quite impactful again, as Ice Punch is going to knock them out, but they still have their one shield, and like this one shield is going to be quite awkward. We have to kind of play around it and catch the move here onto the Azumarill, which does work out quite a bit here. Dark Pulse coming through, we can still, I think that's still locked for a little bit here, but now they can swap out and have a hard count on the back, and that's like game over. Like there's nothing I can do about it. I would have been actually fine if the opponent didn't have that extra shield, because I still have my other Pokemon there, my Sandslash, which would have definitely still a great time against the opponent's last two Pokemon if the opponent would be shields down, which they are not, and so I can let them move through here later on because I have to anyway, but I decided to use a shield on the first one, which maybe was also a mistake. Maybe this was also a mistake by me to use a shield there on the Azumarill, because if I had a shield still left on the Sandslash, I might have actually a little bit more play against the opponent's Mandibuzz. Yeah, they were in range kind of for an Ice Punch, but yeah, maybe I misplayed this one again. But again, like the team itself is very, very good. It's just like you kind of have to get used to it a little bit more. This is more towards like bad leads, to be fair. Like LilyKatchum is really, really a tough one. You see me swapping in here into my Feraligatr. This seems kind of counterintuitive first, because if you think about it, the opponent is going to double resist our fast move as well. But unlike the Sandslash, where the charge moves are going to be resisted, here actually it's super effective against us. So why do I do this? Because we are having an ABB style line, and I kind of need to see what they have in the bag. Here, for example, Manta is totally fine for our entire team. Good catch by the opponent, by the way. I know that I can still survive this Aerial Ace, and so I let this move go through. Aerial Ace is going to connect, and I can swap out now, go into my Sandslash, and just go for that Ice Punch to try to get the knockout against the opponent. Turns out that the opponent wants to use a shield here, and I was kind of surprised by this, thinking they have to have like the Water type move Water Pulse. But they don't. They have Aerial Ace for whatever reason, so I can still go for the Ice Punch, knock them out here with that, which is going to be lovely, but it's still kind of an awkward matchup for us, as we can now knock them out. They're going to have in the back the Annihilate. And here I had some lag, which did not allow us to go for that Ice Punch. We should have got this move off as far as I saw it, at least during the battle. But the opponent goes straight for their own charge move, which is going to be that Night Stash, and which is going to be great because our Azumarill can just take it. In comes the LilyKatchum. They can go for the super effective fading move here of Power Whip, doing half of our health. I can try to go for a Play Rough, but I decide to swap out actually into my Feraligatr. And look at this play. I was able to get one charge move off, but also I was able to CMP tie against the opponent. And this is ginormous, because like this, I can just, go into my Azumarill, farm them down. I can go for another fast move here as well, which maybe is a little bit unnecessary, to be fair. But I can go for one Play Rough. This Play Rough is going to connect and knock them out, because I had to predict that I go for an Ice Beam. Now we're gonna go to the elite losses. We have a horrible lead here of Vigoroth. Vigoroth is most likely the worst possible lead for this team, by the way, because it is going to be able to resist both of our fast moves of our Sasop as well as our lead, because both have Shadow Claw, but also they're doing super effective damage against our lead, which is just really, really bad for us. So like, this is going to be a tough one. What I do here is I usually play it out that I use a shield and force the opponent to use a shield as well. Why? Because in the one shield scenario and the zero shield scenario, the matchup against Sandslash is actually not that bad. While in the two shield scenario, it's quite an awkward one. Here, we're gonna get out the opponent's Shadow Sableye, and we can go for a Play Rough, and if they don't use a shield here, it is another goodbye there, one-shot the opponent, and so Azumarill is going to town again. Azumarill is honestly such a good Pokemon. In comes a Cresselia, and the opponent switch locked for a little bit. And what we can do here is we can overfarm. We can overfarm by quite a bit. We can overfarm up to 100 energy, because like this, if they want to swap back into their Vigoroth, they're going to have an Ice Punch straight in their face, as we can go for the Ice Punch here right now, and we will see them using a shield. This shield is so important, because this changes something. I can now use a shield, because if they swap out into the Vigoroth, we can say goodbye to them with that Ice Punch. And this is going to be super good for us, as this Ice Punch is going to connect, and we will see as well that the opponent just had no chance. They forfeited there, and we can claim our set going up to 2,680. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.